But I think also as a scholar of geopolitics, it would be really interesting to hear you talk about, especially being from Italy, which, like you said, didn't have any colonial relationship except maybe with, what was it, Ethiopia? There was a little bit of something, but like it's not a colonial power historically. So, like, how living in Iran, how do you view the like Iran-European relationship under the context of this kind of U.S. hegemony or this U.S. diktat? Like the U.S. really is sort of the reason that any of those characteristics of an official relationship exist. So is there an unofficial relationship that exists that is able to escape the pressure of the U.S., or is it, are we all just victim of this U.S. propaganda?
No, actually, you know, if you wish, also I'm an expert at the European Commission for the program, a program that they have to support the Erasmus Plus program, where they offer support to institutions in the Mediterranean throughout the world. So I even know diplomats because I also work in geopolitics, international relations as an analyst. And you wouldn't believe, closed door, what many diplomats will tell you about Iran, European diplomats. In particular, in some countries, certainly Italy, but some also Spain, if you wish, and other countries. I can mention Portugal, also on the global level. But in the case of Europe, you have seen that with the JCPOA. I mean, Europe, beyond all the issues that we can mention, has been somehow consistent in telling the United States to address Iran as a legitimate actor of the international, with all the problems that there might be there on the international arena, and just get out of this hysterical approach to the issue, because otherwise you don't get anywhere. It's just a bit, look at the facts, look at the situation globally, and just address this specific threat as you address what you perceive as a threat. So there are in several cases excellent bilateral relations between many European countries and Iran. Even now, for example, the case of Italy is one of the most known. This is why the first trip to Europe of both Khatami and Rouhani were to Italy when they went to Europe, because this is both beyond the door, but also somehow an official policy, in the sense that we have bilateral relations, we have common history, we have common interests. And now with Russia, it became very clear. I mean, if you think at Europe, someone who needs gas and oil, and you think what Iran can sell, and you think Europe who wants to sell machineries and what Iran needs, it will be very easy and a very perfect bilateral relation. Why is not there? Because we have NATO, because we have an alliance, we have several complications, because many countries, but Europe most generally lost World War II, Italy and other countries. We are still paying that help that we received from the United States, but was many, many decades ago, and now it's become more of a liability. So yes, if you look closed doors, you spoke with diplomats, in many cases that you will get a very different idea of Iran. Still seen as an actor which is problematic, let's say, challenging, but not in terms of we don't understand, you know, the axis of evil, people on camels doing weird things. It's just as a rational actor with its own interests that you can discuss, you can disagree, but very logical if you look from Iran. And if you look at geopolitics from how Iranians look at geopolitics, because you cannot judge how Iran behaves looking from Washington. I mean, that's not the point. You should look as the necessity of Iran in the region where Iran is. A very simple thing that I always, because I also teach geopolitics about Iran, and my students are very receptive. I mean, basic things. Iran is a republic. We have elections at all levels. In the region, Iran is one of the most successful experiments in democracy, with all the issues that we can discuss. And certainly there are many things that I, as a European, as an Italian, I wouldn't necessarily accept, let's say, in between. Although I'm a scholar, it's not my job. My job is to know, describe, analyze, and then leave others to judge. But specifically geopolitically speaking, in the region West Asia where Iran is located, Iran deserves much more credit than usually you get from the media.